Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're journeying back in time to the Roman Republic to explore the life of one of history's most iconic figures, Gaius Julius Caesar. Was he a brilliant military strategist, a populist champion of the people, or a power-hungry tyrant who brought down the Republic? The answer, as we'll see, is a little bit of everything. Born in 100 BC into a noble but not particularly wealthy family, Caesar's early life was shaped by the turbulent politics of Rome. The city was a battleground between two factions: the Optimates, representing the conservative senatorial elite, and the Populares, who sought support from the common people. Caesar's family had Populares sympathies, a fact that put him in a dangerous position when the Optimate dictator Sulla seized power. A young Caesar was forced to flee Rome, but he didn't just hide. He joined the army and quickly distinguished himself as a capable soldier and an even more capable leader, earning the civic crown for saving a fellow soldier's life in battle. This early experience in the military was the first step on his path to greatness. Upon Sulla's death, Caesar returned to Rome. He wasn't a senator yet, but he knew how to play the game. He became a renowned lawyer and orator, famous for his passionate speeches in the Forum. He borrowed massive sums of money to host lavish games and festivals for the public, building a reputation as a generous man of the people. This was a clever political investment. By winning the love of the Roman masses, he was building a powerful base of support that would rival the established authority of the Senate. His charisma was magnetic, and his ambition was limitless. In 60 BC, Caesar made a move that would change the course of Roman history. He formed a secret alliance with two of the most powerful men in Rome, Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in the city, and Gnaeus Pompey, Rome's most celebrated general. This alliance, known as the First Triumvirate, was essentially a pact to bypass the Senate and control Roman politics for their mutual benefit. With Crassus's money and Pompey's military prestige backing him, Caesar was elected consul, the highest office in the Republic. He used his year in power to push through popular land reforms, further cementing his support among the people and rewarding his allies. But Caesar's true ambition lay beyond the city walls. After his consulship, he secured the governorship of Gaul, a vast and untamed territory roughly corresponding to modern-day France. For the next 8 years, from 58 to 50 BC, Caesar waged a series of brilliant and brutal military campaigns. The Gallic Wars were a masterclass in strategy, logistics, and leadership. He conquered dozens of tribes, expanded Rome's territory all the way to the Rhine River and the Atlantic Ocean, and even launched 2 brief expeditions to Britain, the first Roman to do so. His dispatches from the front, known as Commentaries on the Gallic War, were not just military reports. They were masterfully crafted propaganda. Written in clear, concise Latin, they were sent back to Rome to be read aloud in public, reminding everyone of his incredible victories and keeping his name on everyone's lips. Through these campaigns, he not only amassed immense wealth, but also forged one of the most loyal, battle-hardened armies the world had ever seen. His legions were fiercely devoted to him, not to the Senate or the people of Rome, but to their general, Caesar. Back in Rome, the political landscape had shifted dramatically. Crassus had been killed in battle, and the triumvirate was no more. Pompey, once Caesar's ally and son-in-law, had grown wary of his rival's soaring popularity and military power. Siding with the Senate, Pompey sought to strip Caesar of his command. The Senate issued an ultimatum: disband your army and return to Rome as a private citizen. For Caesar, this was an impossible choice. To return without his army meant facing prosecution and political ruin at the hands of his enemies. So, in January of 49 BC, Caesar made his fateful decision. Standing on the banks of a small river called the Rubicon, which marked the legal boundary of his province, he led his 13th legion across it and into Italy. This act was an open declaration of civil war. The phrase "crossing the Rubicon" has since become a timeless expression for passing a point of no return. The Senate and Pompey were caught completely off guard by the speed of his advance. They panicked and fled Rome, abandoning Italy to Caesar, who marched into the capital unopposed, welcomed as a hero by the populace. The civil war that followed raged across the Roman world, from Spain to Greece and Egypt. The decisive battle took place at Pharsalus in Greece. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Caesar's tactical genius and the veteran skill of his legions secured a crushing victory over Pompey's forces. Pompey himself fled to Egypt, seeking refuge, but was assassinated on the orders of the young pharaoh, Ptolemy XIII. When Caesar arrived and was presented with Pompey's severed head, he reportedly wept. He had not sought his rival's death, only his defeat. It was during his time in Egypt that Caesar famously involved himself in a local power struggle, siding with the pharaoh's sister, Cleopatra, with whom he would have a son, Caesarion. With his enemies defeated, Caesar returned to Rome not just as a general, but as the undisputed master of the Roman world. He was granted unprecedented powers, eventually being named Dictator in Perpetuo, Dictator for life. He embarked on a sweeping program of reforms. He granted Roman citizenship to many people in the provinces, reformed the calendar, creating the Julian calendar that, with minor adjustments, we still use today, and launched massive public works projects to create jobs. He settled his veterans on land and curtailed the power of the corrupt provincial governors. To many, he was bringing much-needed stability and order after decades of civil strife. But to the old guard of the Senate, his absolute power was a terrifying betrayal of Roman tradition. For 500 years, Rome had been a republic, defined by its opposition to kings. In their eyes, Caesar, with his statues, his purple toga, and his lifetime dictatorship, was a king in all but name. A group of senators, calling themselves the Liberators, began to conspire against him, led by Marcus Junius Brutus, whom Caesar had once pardoned and treated like a son, and Gaius Cassius Longinus. They believed that the only way to restore the Republic was to eliminate the dictator. On the Ides of March 15th, 44 BC, the conspirators struck. As Caesar entered a meeting of the Senate, he was surrounded and attacked. He was stabbed 23 times, collapsing and dying at the foot of a statue of his great rival, Pompey. The famous line, "Et tu, Brute," and "You, Brutus," was immortalized by Shakespeare, capturing the profound sense of betrayal Caesar must have felt. The assassins believed they would be hailed as heroes who had saved the Republic. They were tragically mistaken. The people of Rome, who had loved Caesar, were enraged by his murder. Instead of restoring the Republic, the assassination plunged Rome into another round of bloody civil wars. This time, the conflict would lead to the final collapse of the Republican system, and the rise of Caesar's grandnephew and adopted heir, Octavian, who would become Augustus, the first Roman emperor. So, in the end, was Caesar a hero or a villain? He was a complex figure who defied easy labels. His ambition was monumental, and his methods were often ruthless. But he was also a brilliant leader, a reformer, and a man who inspired incredible loyalty. His actions directly led to the end of the Roman Republic, but they also paved the way for the Pax Romana, 2 centuries of relative peace and stability under the Roman Empire. His life and legacy continue to fascinate us because they raise timeless questions about power, ambition, and the price of greatness. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about Julius Caesar? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next one.